Welcome class 12th. Today we will continue our discussion on the chapter solutions. In our previous modules we was discussing about solubility of substances and various factors that affects solubility of any component in any other component. And therein I had already discussed you with the effect of temperature, pressure and nature of substances on various type of solutions, a solid in liquid solution and a liquid in liquid solutions. In today's module I will especially discuss regarding gas in liquid solutions. So today we will discuss about gas in liquid solutions. They are also very important type of solutions and they also impact our daily life. And as discussed earlier, here again there are three basic parameters that affects the solubility of a gas in a liquid. First, nature of gas and nature of solvent. Second, nature of intermolecular forces that are operating between gas molecule and solvent molecule. Second, temperature. And third is, of course, pressure. As I told you that for solid in liquid solutions or liquid in liquid solutions, pressure doesn't plays any important role because molecular packing in either solids or liquids is closed enough and is not affected by change in pressure. If you have a solid, if you have a liquid, then by applying pressure you cannot change its volume. Pressure which is applied from the outside is not sufficient enough to cause any change in its internal structure. But for gases, pressure is a very important factor. So today, in this module, we will learn about gas in liquid solutions, solubility of any gas in liquid and various factors that affects it like nature, temperature and pressure. So first we will discuss nature of gas and liquid or solvent. So for this there is a very simple rule, like dissolves like. ये मैंने आपको पहले भी बताया था और ये हमारे डे टू डे लाइफ में भी ये हमने देख रखा है. हमारा सबसे अच्छा फ्रेंड वही होता है जिसका नेचर एग्जैक्टली मेरे जैसा होता है. So what is the common conclusion? Like dissolves like. Now this like includes two things. First, structure of molecule and second, type and magnitude of intermolecular forces. So if we talk about nature, then this nature includes structure of components and number 2, type and magnitude of intermolecular forces. And the concepts that we are discussing in here, they are not only valid to this chapter, they are equally effective, they are equally applicable to other chapters also wherein we are discussing about physical properties. Physical properties of any substance, whether it is a liquid, whether it is a gas, whether it is a solid, whether it is an inorganic compound, it is an organic compound, any sort of matter. Physical properties of any sort of compounds are largely dependent on the nature of substance, where nature means its structure and type and magnitude of intermolecular forces. Now, if I talk about the structure of components, then this refers whether the given component is polar or it is non-polar. And type and magnitude of intermolecular forces implies that whether forces are van der Waals, whether they are dipole-dipole interactions or they are dipole-induced dipole interactions or it is hydrogen bond. So I am quite sure that this has made you clear that what is the meaning of nature of gas and substance. If my nature is same to that of yours, we will have better affinity, we have close interaction with each other, we have better friendship. But if my nature and your nature is different, then there will be a friction and we may know each other. We may have a little interaction with each other, but that sort of a strong bonding between I and you is not possible. So for this first point, nature of gas and liquid, simple rule is like dissolves like, means nature of solute and solvent should be same, and nature and magnitude of intermolecular interactions that are operating between solute and solvent molecules, they should also be same. Now let me take a few examples to elucidate this fact. Let us take example of ammonia and phosphine. This point can be made clear by taking example of these two gases, ammonia and phosphine, and taking water as a solvent. So these two are solute and water is solvent. Molecules of ammonia are additionally associated with the help of intermolecular hydrogen bond. Molecules of water also has got intermolecular H bond, and when ammonia is mixed with water, there is formation of an intermolecular hydrogen bond between ammonia molecule and water molecules. So ammonia is highly soluble in water. On the other hand, when phosphine is passed through water, phosphine molecules are not able to make intermolecular hydrogen bond with water and it is not soluble. This is ammonia, this is water, and this is solution caused by them. So here intermolecular force is H bond, here intermolecular force is H bond, and here ammonia and water, they are also bonded with H bond or hydrogen bond. So ammonia is highly soluble in water. On the other hand, when phosphine gas PH3 is passed in the water, molecules of phosphine are not able to make intermolecular hydrogen bond, hence it is not soluble. When ammonia is passed, nothing is observed. When phosphine gas is passed, it comes out in the form of bubbles. There is another example. Oxygen and water. This is non-polar, this is polar. Here the intermolecular force is van der Waals, here intermolecular force is H bond. So when both of them are mixed together, these polar water molecules induces a dipole in otherwise non-polar oxygen molecule. And nature of interactions are dipole, induced dipole. And because of which oxygen, carbon, nitrogen type of non-polar gases, they are very feebly or they are soluble in the water which is polar to a very small extent. So I am quite sure that these two examples has made the clear first point that how nature of substance and nature and magnitude of intermolecular forces are responsible for the dissolution of any substance to any other substance. This point is exactly same to all type of solutes and solvents irrespective of their physical states. This point is valid for a solid to a liquid solution, for a liquid to a liquid solution, for a gas to a liquid solution. For example, if we take sodium chloride which is ionic in nature and we put it in water which is also polar in nature, so a solution is formed. But same sodium chloride when dissolved in benzene, sodium chloride is ionic, benzene is non-polar, so they don't dissolve in each other. Solid in liquid type of solutions. Similarly, if we take kerosene oil and try to mix it with water, they are immiscible because kerosene is non-polar, water is polar. But when we take alcohol and we try to dissolve in water, nature of intermolecular interactions is same. Alcohol and water molecules, they are held together by intermolecular hydrogen bond and this solution is formed. And so this example is of liquid in liquid solutions. And now these are the examples of gas in liquid solution. Ammonia gas, when passed through the water, ammonia and water molecules, they are able to form hydrogen bond with each other. Hence this ammonia is highly soluble in water. On the other hand, when phosphine gas is passed through the water, it is not able to form that intermolecular hydrogen bond. So phosphine is immiscible with water. So this point remains same. For any substance to be soluble in any other substance, its nature and magnitude of intermolecular forces should be same. Now let us come to the other point, other parameter, temperature. Temperature. So here, for solid in liquid solutions or liquid in liquid solutions, increase in temperature increases the solubility. But for gaseous solutions, this is reverse. Dissolution of a gas in a liquid is an exothermic process. A gas plus a liquid gives solution and heat. So once temperature is increased, equilibrium shift to the backward direction. On increase of temperature, solution decomposes to give gas and liquid separately. Means solute and solvent get separated. So the solubility of a gas in any liquid is inversely proportional to the temperature. Increase in temperature decreases the solubility. So solubility is inversely proportional to the temperature. Let us take two examples that will clarify this point in a better way. There is a very common question which is generally asked in your board examinations also, that why aquatic species are more comfortable in cold water rather than hot water. So aquatic species means the animals that are living in the water. As we know that every living thing requires oxygen for its survival, and all these aquatic animals, they breathe oxygen, which is they get their oxygen from the dissolved oxygen which is present in the water. And this oxygen which is present in the water is actually already very low. And since solubility is inversely proportional to the temperature, so when temperature is increased, solubility of oxygen decreases. Means in a hot water, less amount of oxygen is present, so the aquatic species becomes uncomfortable. However, when temperature is decreased, solubility of oxygen increases, the amount of oxygen which is present in water that increases, and aquatic species, they can breathe easily, they can breathe comfortably, and they are more comfortable in cold water. Next, we all have tasted this carbonated drinks like Pepsi, Thumbs Up. It is written on the bottle that serve chilled. These carbonated drinks are being made by dissolving carbon dioxide gas in a sweet concentrate, and if it is served chilled, means at lower temperatures the amount of CO2 present is more, and if temperature is increased, the dissolved carbon dioxide, it goes out, and its taste is disturbed. So this is effect of temperature. So as I told you that for a solid in liquid solution, increase in temperature increases solubility. For a liquid in liquid temperature, again increase in temperature increases solubility. But for a gas in liquid temperature, for a gas in liquid solution, increase in temperature decreases the solubility. So I am quite sure that these two factors are you are able to understand these two factors that I explained here. Effect of pressure we will discuss in our next module. Thank you.